Welcome everybody to the Rotary Club of Global Impact. My name is Dr. Pauline Crawford, and I'm delighted to be here with you all. Today, we hopefully will have a few more coming in. We know Marty is going to come in, and I'm hoping Shankar will as well from India. But it's delightful to see you all. We're really sorry to hear from Patty that something has happened with her mother, so we must say some prayers for Patty. And Patty is our president-elect, so she will be president from July the 1st of this year. So really sorry to hear that. We never know what's going to happen in life, do we? Unexpected calls which take us wherever we need to go. But it's absolutely delightful to have you all here. And a special welcome home to Ritu, who's been traveling through India for the last 4 weeks, I think. Yes. So hopefully you're beautifully relaxed and massaged and chilled out and all that stuff. That's good. Marty's just coming in, so let's let him in. I'm having been to Kerala once in my life, many years ago, and experienced some of the deep oil massages. I know how wonderful that is. Yes. Good morning, Marty. Good to see you. And so we will keep Patty in our prayers for whatever is happening for her today. And maybe I would just welcome all of you. It's going to be a really super presentation today from my friend, Dr. Maureen McIntosh-Alberts, but we'll call her just Maureen, if that's okay with you, Dr. Maureen. And we are going to be looking at lots of things, but the four-way test is going to come into the presentation. So I think we're going to allow the theory of create hope in the world to be our hope today. I don't want to explain to all of you that this is Women's International Month. I'm sure all of you know this. There is so much going on this month all across the world. I was involved this weekend in running a day here in Las Vegas called Empowering Women Worldwide. And this is not to be exclusive of men, for sure, and we have men on the call here. This is not about women running the world. For me, it's about us running the world together. So International Women's Day was actually on Friday, March the 8th. And there were a lot of activities going on in New York with the United Nations. And as you know, it's over 100 years since all of the suffragettes were out there with their banners saying, you know, we need to be heard in the world. So I think it's appropriate that we have a beautiful female presenter today. And Ritu is also, with Dr. Maureen, is part of what we are also involved in, which is called the G100, which is a group of network of women across the world, started from India, from a lady called Dr. Harbeen Arora. And there's basically thousands of women in that network, let alone other women's networks, who all want to have a better life for women, but with men. So we totally applaud all the men in our life, and we're very grateful for you, especially those present today. I think what we'd like to is there anything you would like to say, Ritu, as our events host? I know you've been traveling, but maybe just a quick word from you.
Thank you, Dr. Pauline. I believe as we are in this third decade of 21st century, there's a more and more need of humanity to come together. There's no time for gender competition, gender conflicts. It's the thing of the past. We need to acknowledge each other's strengths and collaboration. There's so much happening, and we need every ounce of the talent and strategies and working together. That's just my 2 little cents, and I hand it back to Dr. Pauline.
Thank you, Ritu. And yes, I also applaud Marty, you had an event for Women's International Day, and as I did on Saturday with Empowering Women Worldwide. So I think it's wonderful that we are celebrating women and applauding women, but there's so much more to do. There's so much more to do. We have too many wars and too many conflicts and too many violent issues going on in the world of abuse. And it's time to really understand who we are and as humanity, as Ritu said, how we can come together. So I would like to introduce my dear friend, the Reverend Maureen McIntosh-Alberts. I'm just going to read a little intro for you from Maureen's amazing book called Transforming Pain into Purpose. And I was very privileged to write the foreword for this. But my dear friend, Dr. Maureen, is a behavioral scientist, a human and organizational development systems specialist, specializing in the management of change in multicultural organizations. She's lived, worked, and traveled extensively, nationally and internationally for over 15 years, leading organizational change management interventions, coaching, mentoring, and training staff in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this is very important. She's also the founder and CEO of the Zorbas Orphans Fund. This is a charitable organization in Alexandria where she's based, and she empowers the minds of orphans and vulnerable youth for the future, freeing girls from the egregious practice of human trafficking. This is so important. She's a certified leadership coach, diversity, equity, and inclusion trainer, author, speaker, trainer of DISC, certified personality assessment consultant, and ICF certified leadership coach, ambassador and executive director for the John Maxwell team. But most importantly, and you'll see it on her beautiful back screen, she heads up the International Center for Empowerment and Leadership, now called EPIC, Transformational Coaching Academy. She's an all-round good egg, is my friend, Dr. Maureen. And so I'd like you to put your hands together and welcome Dr. Maureen to our group.
Well, thank you so much for that warm welcome, Dr. Pauline. And I'd like to say good morning to all of you esteemed members of this distinguished Global Impact Rotary Club. It's so good to see you, Ritu, and it's so good to be here among all of you. I know that I'm not just in the company of strangers, but I'm in the company of dedicated professionals and community leaders. I'm among friends, and we're all united by a common purpose: to make a difference in the lives of those around us. Your legacy of service as Rotarians, your unwavering commitment to fostering goodwill and understanding resonates deeply with me and with all the people that I serve. It is a profound honor this morning to share this moment with you as individuals who embody the very essence of leadership. You embody the essence of philanthropy and ethical stewardship in every action that you take, and I'm very proud of each one of you. Today, I am excited to delve into a topic that mirrors the values that we hold dear as Rotarians: the transformative power of reciprocity, along with the ethical application of my mentor and Dr. Robert Cialdini, who has 6 other principles of persuasion that I teach and I certify leaders in using these principles ethically. These principles that we teach, they're not just strategies, they are pathways to deepening our connections, amplifying our impact, and elevating our collective vision to new heights. Together, let's explore how we can further harness these principles to enrich not only your personal and professional lives, but also to continue the outstanding work that you do in our communities and beyond. So I want to thank you, Dr. Pauline, for the warm welcome and the opportunity to speak with you today. So let's embark on this journey to discover the empowerment journey together. So Dr. Robert Cialdini's Principles of Influence and Persuasion, as outlined in his seminal book, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, have become foundational in the fields of marketing, psychology, and business. Over 4 million copies of this book has been sold, and the book's impact is undeniable. It offers deep insights into how people can be persuaded to act in certain ways. And for you as Rotarians, understanding and ethically applying these principles in both professional and personal contexts is not just beneficial, it's essential to furthering the Rotary Club's mission of service above self. So these principles, originally there were 6 of them, and the 6 that he started with were reciprocity, commitment and consistency, social proof, authority, liking, and scarcity. And now he has included one other principle, which is unity. So the 7 principles are reciprocity, which is the tendency to want to give something back when you receive something from someone. So people are inclined to give back to others the form of a behavior, a gift, or a service that you've received first. Commitment and consistency is the desire to act consistently with our commitments and our values. So once people make a choice or they take a stance, they are under both internal and external pressure to behave consistently with your commitment. And then, of course, you're all aware of social proof because we use social proof daily. Is the tendency to see an action as more desirable when others are doing it. So in essence, people tend to look to the behavior of others to determine their own. And how do you use social proof? You get a testimonial from someone who has received your service, and you put that testimonial on your website. You either put it in the form of words, or these days we use a lot of video. So somebody records a video for you, Ritu, and they say, I have taken your executive coaching and you're such a wonderful coach. And they say how they came into your coaching, what changed, and how their lives are different. So we collect these social proof. And you do that because you want to continue to change lives. So we all are aware of the power of social proof. Now, the other one with number 4 is authority, which is the likelihood of following the advice of someone perceived as an authority. So people like to follow the advice. For example, if I want to bring someone into my organization, and I know that Dr. Pauline is well known in that area, and she has actually used my service and she endorses it, okay, then now I can use her as the authority because she is authoritative in the things that I'm doing. So sometimes we combine these principles in order to be able to make them more effective. Now, there's a powerful principle also of liking, which is the tendency to agree with people we like or people we find attractive. People are easily persuaded by others they like. So people use stars, for example, in Hollywood to endorse their products or people use a beautiful female to endorse cars. We see that happening all around us, but we actually don't realize why marketers use the things that they use in marketing, because they are universal principles of persuasion and influence. And then, of course, there's a big one, which is scarcity. That is the perception that something is more valuable when it is less available. So You know that you're invited to take course, and then they would, or you're invited to come into a program, and it is $100 today, but it is not going to be available at that price tomorrow. And human beings don't like to know that they're losing anything. So people combine these principles in marketing. And so Dr. Cialdini is really well known for what? The principle, using these principles ethically and not unethically. Okay. So usually what people do is they will tell you that something is available now, and then it is not going to be available tomorrow. And that is not, and it's not true. So what we advocate is that you use these principles, but you use them ethically. So by integrating, he came up with unity into the framework. He acknowledges that there is a profound impact that a sense of togetherness and shared purpose can be very persuasive. So it is especially relevant for organizations like the Rotary Club, where the common goal of service and community improvement can significantly amplify the persuasive impact of your initiatives, fostering a stronger, more unified effort towards making a difference. So it was so amazing that he added unity into the mix. So large companies, for example, Coca-Cola, Apple, and Amazon, they credit the application of these principles for their success. They've utilized strategies like scarcity, limited time offers, social proof, customer reviews, and authority and expert endorsements to build their brand and to drive customer behavior. So these examples demonstrate the principle's effectiveness when applied strategically and ethically. So today, in the few minutes that we have left, I want us to delve into one of the principles that is fundamental to human interaction and pivotal to your personal and professional success. And that principle is reciprocity. The principle, as identified by Dr. Cialdini alongside his other 6 principles of persuasion, provides a blueprint for fostering genuine connections, for building trust, and creating a positive impact in our lives and the lives of those around us. So what is reciprocity? Reciprocity is the practice of exchanging things with others for mutual benefit, particularly privileges granted by one country or organization to another. It's a natural human instinct to want to return favors and kindness, creating cycles of generosity that bind us together. When it is paired with the other principles of influence, like liking, unity, social proof, and authority and scarcity, we unlock a very powerful toolkit for navigating our interactions and relationships with integrity and empathy. So, for example, what is reciprocity? What you sow, you reap. You start the process of giving, and then it creates a cycle of giving. And so I'm going to tell you a story in a little while about how powerful reciprocity is. So it manifests itself, though, in 2 forms: intangible, such as gifts and services, and intangible, like advice, support, or emotional labor. Each of those has its place in crafting meaningful relationships. For example, when you receive a tangible act of generosity, you might be offering someone a product or a service at no cost to those in need, while an intangible act could be mentoring someone, Ritu, providing guidance to a colleague or a friend without any expectation of a return. So another reciprocity, intangible gift of reciprocity is listening to a person intently, not having your phone when someone is trying to tell you something. You're giving them all of your attention. And these days, because we're so busy, Dr. Pauline, because we're so busy, We often don't realize how important it is, especially in this world where here your hope is the word that you're using this year for your you're focusing on hope. People need hope. And to get hope, we need people who can listen to us and tell us it's okay. Like your president-elect. What did you do this morning? You send prayers, you send love her way, and you're going to keep her in your thoughts. And in order for you to start the process, the lovely process of liking and her continuing to be feeling a part, the oneness and the unity in this group, you will go further by giving her a call and by sending her a card and making sure that mom is okay. These principles are universal and they're used every day. But the one thing that we want to highlight is that highlighting them and being intentional about them in our business and our personal lives is so important, because then if you want to increase your business reach, if you, for example, you need to know how to use these principles effectively to your benefit and ethically. So let me share a story that beautifully illustrates the long-term impact, because reciprocity has a long-term impact. Years ago, when the Netherlands faced a devastating flood, the people of New Orleans extended their hands in friendship and in aid to the Netherlands. Fast forward to Hurricane Katrina. You remember Hurricane Katrina? And then it was the Dutch who were the first among the people to offer their expertise and support to New Orleans. It was in the 1930s that the Dutch had that situation happening. And then Hurricane Katrina happened not too long ago under the presidency of George Bush. And the Dutch were the first one to offer the expertise and support to New Orleans in its time of need. The cycle of kindness and mutual aid spans decades and crosses oceans and underscores the profound bonds that ethical reciprocity can forge. It is a very, very powerful principle, because for those of you who might be people of faith, you know that it is said that when you give, you will receive in large measures, and whatever you sow, you will reap. And it doesn't matter if the crop is long-term or short-term or medium-term, it always brings back to you that which the harvest that you have sent it out to bring back to you. So what am I saying? If you want to receive good measure, pressed down, shaken together, love, then you give love. It is also said that if you want to be friendly, if you want friends, you must first show yourself friendly. That's the principle of reciprocity in action. Then we go to Ethiopia, from Ethiopia to Mexico. This is a global tale of reciprocity and mutual aid in action. In the heart of international relations and community support, the principle of reciprocity, it shines brightly in the story of Ethiopia and Mexico. This narrative exemplifies how acts of kindness, regardless of the scale or geography, it forges lasting bonds and mutual respect between nations. In the mid-20th century, during the Italian invasion of Ethiopia, then it was called Abyssinia, Mexico stood out as a vocal supporter of Ethiopian sovereignty and rights at the League of Nations. Mexico's unwavering support in the time of that crisis, it left a lasting impression on the Ethiopians and the Ethiopian government. It highlighted a profound act of international solidarity and ethical reciprocity. Decades later, this historical act of support was reciprocated in an inspiring turn of events. Ethiopia was among the nations that offered aid and support to Mexico following the devastating earthquake in 1985 that struck Mexico. So this gesture was not about repaying a debt, but it was about honoring a bond that was formed in times of hardship. It was a powerful demonstration of ethical reciprocity, showing that the seeds of goodwill that we plant today can blossom into forests of friendships and support in the future. And listen, At the time when Ethiopia sent 5,000 US dollars to Mexico, they were going through. You remember when there was a famine in Ethiopia? It was at that time, during the famine, that Ethiopia sent $5,000. Even in their time of need, they remembered how the kindness that Mexico had done for them, and they reciprocated by sending a little in their time of need. And people wanted to know why. Why was it that Ethiopia would, in her time of need, reach out to Mexico? But that's how powerful the principle of reciprocity is. For you as members of the Rotary Club, this story underscores the importance and the impact of ethical reciprocity in both your personal and in your professional realms. So I am asking you to embrace it and act on the principle of reciprocity, because when you do, you're contributing to a culture of generosity. You're contributing to a culture of support that transcends borders, touching lives and strengthening communities across the globe. And since you're a global impact club, it is so important to remember that you want to make a global impact by activating the principle of reciprocity. Now, it is ethical to use all of the principles. And it is also ethical to remember that the application of these principles is not just beneficial, it's essential. It's about fostering genuine connections rather than manipulating outcomes, because there are people who use these principles to manipulate, Ritu. For instance, when we use liking by genuinely finding and highlighting common interests, when we use unity by emphasizing shared identities and goals, when we use social proof by authenticating, sorry, so someone was just calling me, I'm sorry. We use social proof by authentically sharing testimonials and experiences. We use authority by honestly communicating that Dr. Pauline, for example, is my friend, not so that I can manipulate someone to say, well, Dr. Pauline is my friend, and it's not true, just because I want to influence you, Ritu. So scarcity, when we use scarcity, we must honestly communicate that this product is unique and it is valuable and it is going to be not available soon. So if you want to take advantage of it, please do. There was a story of this man who, let's say he was going to buy some golf shoes, and he saw one of them being offered in a show window. He went in and he asked the lady, the salesperson, is this the only one you have left? And she said, yes, this is the only one we have left. And so he bought it. He wasn't going to buy anything at that day, but he decided, since it was the only one they had left, let him buy it. Next day, he passes by the same store, and there was a shoe, the same shoe in the store window. So he went in and he asked the lady, but I thought you told me that this was the last one. She said, this was the last one we have in the store, but we had some more in the warehouse. That is not ethical. It was just to manipulate the person to buy the shoe at that time. And then when we commit to something in consistency and commitment, when we commit to something and we state, like you're stating here, that you're members of the Rotary Club, you're consistently coming to your meetings, where you're aligning your actions and your values and your promises so that you're ethical in discharging your duties and making sure that what you promise you say you will do. And we call that now integrity. So let me give you an example of Costco, who use member satisfaction and loyalty ethically. The principle of reciprocity is powerful in business. It's capable of forging strong relationships. So I said to you that its impact can be very significant depending on whether you use it ethically or unethically. So Costco Wholesale Corporation is renowned for its ethical business practices, particularly in how it treats both its members and employees by offering high quality products at lower prices and providing great customer service. Costco effectively utilizes the principle of reciprocity. Their members receive substantial value for their membership fees, which inclines them to continue renewing their membership and shopping at Costco. This ethical application of reciprocity has resulted in high member satisfaction, strong loyalty, and a positive brand reputation. Their approach demonstrates how prioritizing long-term relationships over short-term gains can lead to sustainable success and growth. But you know what? It's crucial. I want you to know that while these principles are effective, they can be used unethically, like I mentioned, particularly in business. So why am I saying that? When you get to understand how to use these principles, never ever use them unethically, because you're only going to get people to do business with you once, and they're not going to do business with you ever again. And then they are going to, your social proof will be that you're an unethical person and you're using things to manipulate people. So remember that using these principles of social proof, reciprocity, which we're talking about, is very important to remember ethically using them. Why is it so important? Because in our day-to-day, in our society today, we see people feeling that it's okay to not speak the truth. It's okay to be rude, not friendly. You know, it's okay to pull down another person. But in the Rotary Club, I know that because of who you are holding yourself to very high standards. Now, I'm going to give you one more example of the unethical use of reciprocity. Now, Hoover free flights promotion. I'm going to tell you about that. In the early 1900s, there's a cautionary tale of reciprocity that went awry. Hoover UK offered 2 free international flights with the purchase of any product that was worth £100 or more. I don't know, Dr. Pauline, if you remember that. They were hoping to offload excess inventory. However, the company did not anticipate the overwhelming response and found itself unable to fulfill the promised rewards without incurring massive losses. This misuse of the principle of reciprocity, where the offer was not made in good faith, but made as a manipulative tactic to boost sales, resulted in a public relations disaster. It damaged Hoover's reputation, it led to a significant financial loss, and it eroded customer trust. The Hoover incident underscores the danger of exploiting the principle of reciprocity unequally, and it highlights the importance of aligning your promotional strategies with the company's ability to deliver, with your company's ability to deliver on its promises. So I guess you all get the picture. When you use any of these principles, but especially reciprocity, it can lead to immediate backlash, it can damage reputation, and long-term harm your business and the relationships that we have with customers. So as Rotarians, the principles resonate deeply with your ethos of integrity, leadership, and service. They are more than just tactics. They are reflections of your commitment to ethical behavior and the positive influence that you strive to exert. When you employ these principles with sincerity, you do much more than just to persuade. You inspire trust, you nurture loyalty, and you catalyze both personal growth and professional excellence. By applying these principles ethically, you can turn your workplaces into havens of mutual support to boost customer satisfaction and allegiance. and to fortify the ties that binds us to one another. Our capacity as Rotarians to serve our community, to lead by example, and to foster a more interconnected and empathetic world is exponentially enhanced. This is the essence of our action, to wield our influence not only for personal gain, but to make meaningful difference in the world and to demonstrate that we are indeed people of action. For Rotarians, these principles are just not tools for you. They should become beacons that guide your efforts to magnify the impact of your project, to galvanize community involvement, and to forge relationships that transcends the boundaries of your clubs. When you integrate these principles with the ethical standards that are set forth by the Rotary, including the four-way test, and you know the four-way test is a set of ethical principles that is used by all Rotarians worldwide to guide your personal and your business relationships. These principles, as you know, were created by Herbert Taylor in 1932, the four-way test, and it comprises of 4 questions. Is it truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? To ensure that all your actions are not only effective, but also just and beneficial for all. This commitment to ethically persuade by using the principle of reciprocity and all the other 6 principles is what sets you apart and enables you to create a legacy of positive change. So remember that the questions are, is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? So in conclusion, I will end by saying the power of reciprocity, along with other principles of persuasion, lies not in their ability to manipulate, but in their capacity to create genuine, meaningful connections based on mutual respect and understanding. And when we apply these principles ethically, we can transform our interactions, we can influence positively, and we can leave a lasting impact on our world. So I invite you to join me in exploring these principles further if you like, and to incorporate them in your lives. So together, let's commit to using our influence for the greater good, for building a foundation of trust and fostering a culture of mutual support and kindness. So thank you for the opportunity to allow me to speak with you today, and I'm eager to connect with any of you interested in diving deeper into these transformative strategies for personal and professional growth. And if you'd like to connect with me, you can connect with me via LinkedIn. Dr. Pauline has my information, or you can visit my website, epictransformationalcoachingacademy.com. Leave me your details and I will take care of the rest. Thank you so much for having me, and blessings to each one of you.
Thank you. My goodness me, that was amazing. Let's give Dr. Maureen a big round of applause. I was very, very inspired by all of that, Maureen. Now, let's see if we got some questions here. Has anybody got some questions or some commentary? I mean, I've got so many notes down here about how to use these things. Stormy, do you want to?
I was just clapping. Thank you.
Oh. I was thinking about your campaign. There's lots of good ideas in how you
yeah. Yeah, definitely. I've taken away so much from that, but I didn't really have a question. Thank you.
So any other questions? Ritu.
I have a comment. Dr. Maureen, this was a wonderful presentation. Thank you for sharing insights. The reciprocity. I'm sorry, I just blanked out on my thought. The paying it forward, or however we say, what you give comes back at a very small level, act of kindness. It's pretty obvious that we see examples here and there, but you brought in at the international level some examples, and I didn't anticipate that kind of generosity coming back, like the example of Ethiopia and Mexico. That is such a wonderful way of expressing our shared humanity, people, that we have. And I'm just in awe that, we need to bring that kindness forward even further by just sharing these examples is a good way. And it encourages people to do just even a small act of kindness, whatever is possible. It always may not be in a form of money. It could be any kind of assistance. And I just want to add here from my own initiatives that our youth today need so much guidance. And we need to do anything to empower them to deal with challenges that they're facing.
Yes, yes, yes. And thank you so much, Ritu. That's why we are on a mission to bring these principles into universities, into leadership programs in universities. We're aiming to bring them into organizations and into graduating classes, into our high schools, because we know that these principles are powerful and they can help to strengthen our next generation of leaders.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Absolutely. Are there any more comments coming back? I know, Paul, you posted quite a few positive comments on there. Have you got any review points, Paul?
Well, I was just impressed with the theme. Hello, doctor, by the way. I was just impressed with the theme on reciprocity. I think I did not know, for example, about the connection between New Orleans and Holland, but it certainly makes sense, and there's certainly a larger lesson to be drawn from that. Sometimes we just simply need to help others simply because it's the human thing to do. We want to help others and make sure that people satisfy their Maslow's needs and all of that. But we don't often think about getting anything back in return, but it's wonderful when we do. So I thank you for bringing that story up.
Well, thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate the comment. Yes, of course, they're powerful and they start in motion a chain of action, and it spans geographical distances. And remember that the people in New Orleans who received that act of kindness from the Dutch were the Dutch people who received the act of kindness from the New Orleans. There was years before those people, some of those people may have died. It spans years and generations. I remember a story, my grandmother, she used to say to me, she had a little shop, and people would come to the shop and they would buy things on credit, and she would give it to them. And then when they got paid, they would go away to some other place where they spent their money. And then when they needed more money more goods and services at the end of the month, when things were hard, they'd come back and they would credit again. And I would say to her, why do you do that? She died with a IOU list so long. I remember when I went home and I saw that IOU list of people who owed her. But you know what she would tell me, Paul? She said to me, I am doing this for you guys. I'm doing it for you. When I die, she used to say, ants will bring me news that you guys are doing well. And Paul, I can see the impact of my grandmother's kindness in my life, in my son's life, and more recently, something that was going awry in a piece of property that my late husband left for my grandson, who my grandson didn't even know. Hundreds of thousands of dollars that property is worth. Things have turned around so that he can get the benefit of that property. That is from all the way from my grandmother doing all these kindnesses, and that's on a personal level. And I see doors opening for me because of things that I have done. And I see it working. It's a powerful principle that if we're more intentional about using it ethically, it really does work, because principles You can't break principles. Principles will break you, like the law of gravity. You can't go against the law of gravity. The principle of reciprocity will always work. Like Ritu said, paying it forward.
Yeah. Well, thank
I
you so
just
much.
think that is so beautiful, isn't it, Paul? I mean, I just think to me, it's the essence of what Rotary should be. I don't know whether it also always is, but I think it's a very profound reminder today of how whatever we do, we need to trust that it's out there in the world. Particularly this month with all the celebrations about women. And yet we know statistically that life is not good for half of the world. There are still many, many women who are abused and tortured and in peril. So we have to question, what can we do in terms of our whole world and lifting the energy? So I'm fascinated that Cialdini put in that seventh principle, Maureen, of unity.
Yes.
And that
Yes.
was recent that he added that.
Recently, yeah, because he had 6 and now he has this 7th one of unity, yes. And it's actually the togetherness. It's about not being the same, but it's together. Is it
Yes.
together that we're working together as a whole, that we're part of a group, like belongingness, like on the Maslow hierarchy of needs, the belongingness. So that's the unity, yeah.
And I think that's really important that we, there was so much unfortunate misinformation and so much bad news around arguments and torture and war and things that we know are not right in our world. And we waste so much time arguing and damaging other people. It's extraordinary. Whereas in fact, with this principle of reciprocity, we could actually just, like the simplicity of smiling at a stranger.
Yes, yes.
We don't know where that will go. And we
Yes.
don't know what is happening in anybody's life.
Yes.
Um,
Do you guys remember the story of Madoff when he swindled so many people from their monies? The lawyer who, not the prosecution, the defense and the prosecution in the courtroom, they were really both very good, especially the defense. So the prosecution was a student of Dr. Cialdini, and he understood the principles that Dr. Cialdini used to. And he was watching the defense, how they interacted with the jury. They didn't actually. The defense is very rude, basically, to the jury. And that guy watched that, and he knew that he couldn't win that case, not on the stance of him being better than the prosecution, than the defense. So what he did was, in his closing remarks, he addressed the jury, and he said to the jury, if someone is rude to you, that's the principle of liking or the reverse. If someone is rude to you, they're not addressing you. They're not even, they're behaving as though you don't even exist. They can't even look you in the eye. What would you think? Don't you think that that person would have something to hide? That guy won that case. It was one of the largest payouts that any lawyer could have received, just because of that one point that he stressed to the jury, that the defense was rude, they didn't pay attention to you, and he stressed that home, and the jury came back with guilty for that guy.
That's amazing. Well, Dr. Maureen, I think you've given us so much to think about. It's absolutely amazing. So, Ritu, I'm going to invite you to give a vote of thanks to Dr. Maureen as our event.
Sure, Dr. Pauline. Well, I am always humbled when it comes to the collective power and people who sometimes just on their own are doing so much and bringing people together either with their thoughts or actions or their teachings. So, Dr. Maureen, you showed all of those together here today, even though you are, coaching others and have your academy, but all the thoughts and ideas and principles, they were so powerful all together as a package. I really enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate each one of you, and I thank you, Dr. Pauline, for the opportunity to be able to be among friends and among professionals and leaders of integrity. And I'd be willing to come back anytime you would have me. So just reach out to me if you'd like to get in touch with me. And of course, we're looking for people to join our movement, which is the G100, in which Dr. Pauline is our leader, our fearless leader. And so we need all the denim partners, the male partners that we can
Yeah,
get. And so go ahead, Dr. Pauline, I'm taking
I was saying,
you.
we need all the men here. We need all the men to join us because we don't want to have a woman-run world. We want to have a joint custody world, don't we, Maureen?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And so we invite you. We should invite some men to come and see what we're doing in one of our meetings to see whether we can recruit some men, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you all of you for being there. Marty, you haven't said anything today. Do you have a comment for us today? Marty is our past president.
No, we had a great time Friday for International Women's Day. We were celebrating 2 American sheroes here, and we're getting ready for another celebration. It's important that people also remember this is Women's History Month. It's not just a one-day event where we do a bunch of stuff and it's over and we pat ourselves on the back, and then 364 other days we do nothing. This is a whole month, and we've got a new painting we're getting ready to unveil here later this month of a black shero from the Revolutionary War who saved the governor of Georgia's life. She didn't have to do that. She risked her own life by getting him out of prison. He was scheduled to be executed in Fort Cornwallis. We're having her framed this week in gold, gold framed to match the other sheroes that are here in the gallery. So that's going to be a big event. We haven't announced the exact date yet, but that's going to be a big event here with food and everything later this month.
Fabulous. So we've come to the end of our meeting. I'm going to ask a favor. If Paul and Brittany, can you just put your camera on? I want to take a picture. Brittany, are you there, Brittany? Hi, Brittany.
No, hold on. Let me pull over here. I'm just driving.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Brittany. I don't know whether you're there, Dr. Mike, but I'm going to
Absolutely.
I'm going to take a screenshot. So let me just do this. I'd like you all to smile at the camera. I've got you. Thank you. Oh, well done. And I saw a pussycat there as well, Isaac.
Can I just mention one thing real quick?
Yes, please, Dr. Mike.
Take time to review the 4P Center programs for the graduate scholarship programs and certificate programs. The cutoffs are coming up in 2 months, 60 days. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mike. So I want to thank you all, and especially Dr. Maureen. I just got so many ideas. I'm going to have to talk to you more about this. But yes, I think as a club, as a Rotary Club of Global Impact, where we are all in different time zones and with different places, it's very important to trust that our energy is recognized by each other. That's the thing, is creating unity across the world is something that we can do in our club. And we've got Agata here, who's one of our newest members in Poland. And we've got a really amazing stretch of people across the world. this is recorded, so I will send you the recording, Dr. Maureen, so you can use that, and I will make sure that everybody has your details. And please, please do connect with Dr. Maureen. The work she's doing is so amazing, and you know, a little bit of kindness goes a long way. I think that's true. So if there's no other words coming back from the assembled, I want to say thank you. Thank you. Go away and have a safe day. We will pray. Let's pray for Patty Rodenberg and for her mom, that everything goes smoothly and that we hear good news from whatever happened today. We never know when something's going to turn up, the unexpected. So as long as we keep our heart center in love, we will make sure that we send love out to everybody in the world. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you, Doris. Thank you, Jean, for being here. Thank you, Quanta. Thank you, Shankar. Thank you, Agatha.
Thank you, Pauline. I just kind of overlapped the time because there was a change, I think. I didn't know that earlier, but it was.
Not to worry. We made it in the end. I know there was some change, but we will meet again in 2 weeks' time. And Doris, would you come and tell us about your life on the next meeting?
I can. Did Marty leave?
Yes, Marty's gone at the moment.
Oh, okay.